Spotify Stefs Rock Show is back. Jonny from Art of Dying. Thanks for coming by.
What's happening? Nice to see you.
So Ocean is out today. I get you on release day.
Yeah, happy release day. Ocean
Yeah.
live
Tell me
everywhere.
about Ocean.
Yeah, it's this track that I've been working on recently. So it's kind of the newest thing I've written. Tavis produced it in Vegas. That's kind of been our work kind of flow these days. Is I'll work on a song and then he'll get up a demo and then we get it. I'll track vocals out here in Vancouver, and then he does most of the instrumentation. So it's cool because we can really in the moment, write a song. And boom, it's kind of out like a month later, which is pretty cool.
So you're in Canada. I don't see a lot of deserts out in Canada. How did you get the frame of mind to do like the whales in the ocean with the desert artwork?
I was really the whole song is kind of about this guy. I don't know if it's autobiographical or not, maybe a little bit, but it's about a guy just who carries his baggage with him. He's not a bad guy. He's just what happens to him when he's young follows him through his life, and just kind of this whole idea that you can feel strong like an ocean, but you're dwarfed when you look up to the sky and realize you're actually tiny in comparison. So it's just kind of this perspective thing, right? So I thought, doing the artwork was kind of, I wanted to call on all those things, just the barren desert, the idea of holding water in your hands and having the ocean spill out into, all the life that comes from the ocean, and just how precious it is to us, and just the perspective of, this woman in the sky, this kind of Mother Nature creature, godlike thing that is looking down on us all the time. I don't know. It was just kind of a conceptual idea for the art.
You just made me remember something from my childhood, and I'm just curious if I'm the only weirdo that felt like this. There was a certain time in my childhood where I didn't want to look up at the sky anymore and the stars because it scared me. Like, I think I felt so small, and I was just like freaked out by the idea of looking up, or that I was going to be sucked up. I don't know. Have you ever felt like that?
Not really. I've always been really fascinated with the night sky and stars. And when I was a kid, I was super into like the constellations, Pleiades cluster, and all these Orion's belt, and all that really fascinated me, especially when I found out the middle star in Orion's belt is actually a spiral galaxy. It's not a star, it's an entire galaxy. So next time you see Orion's belt, check like the middle star is an actual spiral galaxy, and it starts to just blow your mind, right? So I always, I've never been scared to look up. Funny though, 2 years ago, I was sitting during the pandemic. I had a fortunate to have a cabin at that time. So I was sitting on a deck on a cabin on the Sunshine Coast of Canada, just beautiful spot looking over the ocean. And I had never heard of Elon Musk's satellite thing that was going on. Like so I saw this, satellite coming across, and then I saw another one behind it. And then I saw another, and I saw basically, I don't know, it must've been like 30 or 40 satellites in a row coming kind of towards me in the night sky. It scared the shit out of me. Like, I was drinking a scotch and having a cigar, and it was 2 a.m. and
you thought aliens were going to probe your asshole. You were getting prepped.
I thought
you were ready.
And that pit in your stomach just goes, holy shit, it's happening right now. And then of course
I'd be kind of stoked. I'd go get the lube. Like, this is my chance,
Oh yeah.
But I'm not scared to look at the sky anymore. This was like 4th and 5th grade. I don't know why it just started happening for a little bit. And I think the concept of death and how small of a person I was came to me. But now my sons and I have a telescope, and they like to look out their second story windows and sometimes even on the roof at constellations and stars. So they're really into that shit too. Like, I don't know.
Right? Once you get sucked into that world, it's hard to ever forget it. My dad was a big fan of Carl Sagan, and he wrote that book called
I love Carl.
Pale Blue Dot. And it was
that
the view of Earth from out there, we're just this insignificant pale blue dot. And I thought that's always stuck with me as just that's kind of how I felt in this song. You know, and I feel like an ocean staring up at the sky, and it's up to you whether you're significant or whether you're just a speck on the pale blue dot or a speck in the universe. It's just kind of that significance kind of argument in your own soul, in your own being, right?
Yeah. There was a professor at University of the Pacific, Dr. Coper, that banged a lot of the students. He actually had a child with a student, and he, though, turned me on to Carl and his books. So I didn't have sex with him, but he was very well known for that. But he was so smart, and also Freud, and he just like opened my mind sophomore year of college to like, what, these ideas and these concepts, and how a lot happens in our childhood that really shapes who we are, and we can heal and have control over some of it. But really who we are is that core, maybe 5-6 years in the beginning can,
yeah. I have a 10-year-old. Well, she turns 10 this month, actually, 10-year-old daughter. And I feel like a lot of her was formed in the first 6 months even of her life.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like just your experiences and how you're treated, and, you know, all the different types of care that goes into those first months, weeks, it really helps, you know, forms who you're going to be. And then of course the first 6 years are just incredibly significant to your life. And after that, like even now at 9, I'm kind of like, okay, we're done. Like you're a person now. You're a human. You gotta go, you know, do all
Mine
this
are
stuff.
7 and 11. I'm like, go make breakfast, go do shit now. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to get them more independent. But even I joke, but it's in utero, their personalities came out. Like one was calm and slow and sweet with the movements, and the other was kicking me and never slept and was crazy. And like I felt like they had their little personalities at 2-3 months old. Like it's wild. It's really cool. So do you ever go to Vegas? Do you leave Canada and like record in Vegas or LA?
Yeah, I've done a few Vegas trips because Tavis is there, and the band, we really love poker. So any excuse to get to Vegas for a bit is a good to do some writing and sit at some card tables. I'm probably going to do a trip here in the spring to go visit Tavis and work on some more stuff. Remote is so comfortable too, right? Just to be
and common now, very common.
Totally. Like, where were we? I mean, it's almost, what is it? Almost getting on to 15 years since we did the Vices and Virtues record. And that was so old school. That was like, fly to LA, live there for 3 months, you know, stay at the Oakwood, get into a ton of trouble, go to the studio every day, you know, take like 3 full days to get drum sounds before anything happens, and then start getting drums over the first week or 2. And so like, I feel so fortunate that we came up in that era where real recordings were still being made in that beautiful old way. And now here we are doing it remotely from our homes. And, you know, you can be naked in the kitchen, putting peanut butter on toast and you know, grab the mic and just like, I got an idea.
I love it. I don't need pants to interview rock stars anymore. Like they're not necessary. And before, you know, the last 20 years, I was showing up to a bar or a record studio or a band house. They're hungover, they're late, or, you know, they can't find somebody, or they wanted to reschedule. And I had my whole like camera and tripod, and it took me 20 to 30 minutes to set up. And now I love it. I push a button, I log on, and I'm like, hey, where are you? Where in the world are you? Let's do this. I think it's kind of neat. I do like in person still, though. I will say there is something, you can get a magic in person that is maybe harder to get over the internet.
You know, I agree. And I think for songwriting, that's my, you know, my true passion and love in life is writing songs. And when you're in the room with somebody writing together, there's something really special. It's like, it's almost like making love. It's almost like, you know, like you'll never forget that day that you wrote that song with that person or those people. So that you do lose a little of that intimacy maybe in the new way. But that being said, I mean, we've written so many great songs remotely that I can't argue that you get better quality songs in person. I think you just get a better experience, you know, better.
But you don't get to pull a David Bowie, Mick Jagger and possibly have a sexual relationship while writing music, you know, like share that.
Streets, you know?
Yeah, I love it. It's like the gayest thing, and I love that song. And you're like, dang, they banged.
Everybody pause this interview and go watch the video right now on YouTube for what was it? Dancing in the Streets.
Dancing in the Streets. And there's a Family Guy bit. Have you seen the Family Guy joke?
Oh my God. It goes for, I think they do the whole song. They play the whole video.
I think so. Yeah. It's been a while, but I was like, this is epic because we were talking about that like a long time ago in the 90s, how gay that video was. And then I love that Family Guy kind of brought it back to life.
It's coming around though. I think it's getting cool again. You wait.
Everything's coming back. You know what's cool? Even like old bitches are cool. So I'm excited about that. Late 90s, my skate culture and all the music I like is I have CDs still, and I play CDs in a CD player, and it impresses a lot of young guys. So I'm excited that this is all neat now.
I found a ghetto blaster in the garbage the other day, and I just pulled it up, brought it to my daughter, and she's just like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And I gave her a CD and a cassette, and I said, "Go," and she, no clue. Like it took her a while to get the CD thing open and figure out how to put that in. But then the tape thing, it was just like no clue how to get that in there and like close the door and press play and all this stuff. So it was pretty fun explaining it all.
I have Disney VHSs that I've showed my kids the VHSs and how they were, and they're just like, "What?" Like they don't even understand physical copies anymore, right? Because they buy everything digitally online.
I loved the 90s. Like that's my music. I had a one of those pleather cassette holder briefcases that I would carry around.
Okay, so Jonny, tell me, how did you first start in music?
I started as a little kid. I was singing in musicals when I grew up in school. I think I had to take half of like grade 4 off to be in a musical. And then it just grew from there.
And you weren't gay? You got in music and you saw.
And I wasn't gay. No, not that I know of.
Oh man, you're frozen again. We've got you but I can hear you. That's crazy. Can you hear me? Okay, there you go. Okay, that's weird.
You know what? If that happens one more time, I'll just call you on my phone with 5G and put this Wi-Fi to bed because I don't know what.
Okay, are you kind of out in the sticks?
No, that's the weirdest thing. I normally have like just solid Wi-Fi, so I don't know.
I know when my kids log on to MetaQuest and they play these headset games, it really slows me down. So I like it when they're at school to do this, so I don't have to yell at them to get off their PlayStations. Okay, can I ask you fun random questions?
Do.
Okay. What is the favorite concert that you have attended?
I really liked watching Disturbed side stage. We got to tour so much with them, so it got to be like a nightly event, and just watching David and Danny and the boys kill it every night was pretty fun.
Super sick. Do you have a pet peeve?
I hate traffic and I hate waiting.
Yeah.
I can't do lines. Like if I see a line, I'm out. I just can't do it.
Me too. I'm impatient. Like I want it now.
Big time.
Do you have a wild tour story or wild like rock story?
I have many. I think the wildest we got was on Uproar tour. We had we were one of the 4 bands on the opening stage, which was in the parking lot of all these huge venues. So we were, 1 o'clock in the afternoon every day. We were playing to like 10,000 people in a parking lot. It was just amazing.
Nice.
But the organizers of Uproar decided after seeing Tavis and I on stage with a bottle of Jack and just kind of getting ripped by 2 in the afternoon, they thought it'd be a great idea if he and I hosted the Miss Uproar contest on the main stage.
Yeah.
So basically every day after our set, we would go over to the Miss Uproar tent, and there'd be like 12 local beautiful maidens getting all dolled up to hit the main stage, and we were there to kind of lube them up. So we would feed them a little Jack, and we would have some fun, and then we'd go out on stage. And of course, by now we're now talking to like 40,000 people in the main venue, and introducing all these girls and just having the time of our lives. We were just we were singing Love in an Elevator a cappella to the crowd. We were cracking Seinfeld jokes and just we were just having a ball. So that was pretty much like, I mean, you can kind of piece together the aftermath of all that with these wonderful contestants, and now everyone's even more hammered than they were before. So it was just
lubed up,
a little bit of a party, and we had to do it every day. So we would just drive to the next city and do it all again. So it was a bit of a hangover tour, to say the least, but it's a lot of fun.
I dated the director of The Hangover for a while, Todd, and he was cool.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what? I'm stoked because I hosted Miss Rainbow a long time ago, and then Miss Jackalope in LA and Austin, where I got women. Some of them were already porn stars, you know, up on stage to get wild. Whoever was like the wildest girl, I would deem the bar of the month woman. Thank God Me Too movement wasn't out at that time, because I was grabbing their boobs. I was taking their tops. I mean, it was just getting fun and wild. And I wasn't worried about getting in trouble in the early 2000s. And now, first of all, I asked if they want to bring it back last year when I started the podcast, and the bars were like, we don't want to go anywhere near women on stage, you know, getting naked anymore. And I'm like, it's a bummer. I think people have ruined the fun. Like they've taken it down a notch. Totally.
I mean, we grew up in such a great era, you know, just free cell phones for a bit. That was awesome. You know,
nobody knew the shit I was on. Nobody, there's no proof.
Drugs were safe, you know, ish.
There wasn't fentanyl in my heroin. It was pure heroin that I smoked. It was great.
Exactly. And it's kind of gotten a little too tight out there, I'd say.
Yeah, you're right. The drugs got loose and the women got tight. This is not a good time to grow up in. I'm not into it.
It's a good song title, though.
I know. I'm gonna write that one down. Drugs got loose, the women got tight.
Stay on after and do a little songwriting.
Yeah, you can steal it. Okay, if you could bring back anyone from the dead, who would you bring back?
Ooh, wrote a song a couple years ago with Jason Hook from Five Finger.
I love Jason. We also have a history.
He's
I promise you, I haven't banged everybody, but
he's one of the guys I go to visit in Vegas, and we usually write together when we're there. We wrote the theme for his movie Hired Gun, which is a great rock and roll movie. If you haven't seen the rockumentary Hired Gun, that's a must see.
Yeah, but he's been by the show a lot.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's the best. One of the lyrics I wrote in that song was all my heroes are dead, you know. Ooh. And I was just thinking about my boys, you know, all my dudes, Scott Wieland and Lane Staley and Kurt and Chester and all, you know, Chris Cornell. Fuck. So this song was really hard to write because it was kind of writing it about those guys and how pissed that they're all dead. And you spin the wheel with those 5 names right there. Spin the wheel and bring one back. I need more of that in my life.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I love Kurt and Cornell and Chester. And I had Chester's son on. I don't know if you've heard that. I had no clue. Chester's son, Jamie, wanted to come by the podcast. And I was like, yeah, it turned into 3 hours. He believes that his father was killed and did not commit suicide and has all these proof and emails and whatnot. And he's very upset that Linkin Park did not contact him and his family prior to coming back out with Emily as the lead singer to let him know. And so it's now my most watched interview, like hundreds of thousands of times. And I had no clue that there was a rumor that he might not have killed himself, but I do know he struggled with mental health issues prior. And so I'm down to listen to it all. I'm like, I want to read all the conspiracy theories, and I don't really usually have like a solid take on one, or I'm not like, yeah, Bigfoot is real. I want to read and watch it all.
Totally. What's his name? Joe Rogan's good for that, right? He goes through
I love Rogan.
The conspiracy stuff. I love it. Some of it's not my cup of tea, but most of it is, you know, just you know, when those drones were flying around the East Coast there for a while, that was like I was tuning in every day. I'm like, I wonder what Joe's found out today on this shit.
They're trying to take out like the New Jersey Planet Fitnesses, and you're like, wait, why are they there? And dude, so Joe Rogan, and I love the whole crew. Theo and Tim Dillon's my favorite, and he's coming by next week. So I'm really freaking excited about that. Nice. Okay, so Ocean is out today. What is the future? What else do you want to do in 2025 with Art of Dying? What's a goal?
Our goal, honestly, is to release a song every 6 to 8 weeks. That's kind of our new our new setup. So instead of doing records, we're doing, we want to do 12 songs a year at least. So I think that's a pretty amazing rate to kind of, put out an album a year, basically for the rest of our lives, which is pretty fun.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. And, we don't see, there's no signs of slowing down. We just seem to come up with new ideas every day. And we rehash a lot of old ideas, which is a lot of fun too. Just shaking the lyric books from years ago and going, oh yeah, what about that one? And then we can get it rolling. So that's our musical goal. I kind of have this with Adam being back with 3 days.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm having them by during Aftershock this October.
Great. Yeah. I'm so stoked for those guys. And they're, that's where Adam belongs. I'm really proud of his work with Saint Asonia as well. But my whole band was in Saint Asonia with Adam, right? So it was Tavis and Kale and Cody. And so
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
That's sick.
So now that 3 Days is back, those guys aren't touring the Saint Asonia right now. I'm sure they will again in the future. But I was thinking there's a nice little window opening that we could do some artofdying stuff. So we'll see. I don't have any shows planned right now, but I think we're getting closer to. We released our indie record in 2006, so it's going to be 20 years next year. That's the album with like Get Through This and Raining and all those songs on it. So it'd be kind of cool to do like what Disturbed's doing right now, playing their entire Sickness record front to back live. It'd be kind of fun.
Reunion, yeah.
Never done that. Like never played an album front to back live. Never even thought about it really. So it'd be cool. That's kind of a nice little something to put on the cork board and see if we can get it done.
Front to back is safe too. You won't get a UTI. So that's the way to do it. You're not supposed to do it back to front. I heard that. Well, thank you, Jonny, so much for stopping by Stefs Rock Show. And if you get to Sacramento, let me know because I got to come out and I got to see you live.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.